So, launching thousands of robots, which could be the largest autonomous fleet in the country, obviously is a big milestone. And it was important for us to get the robots ready for that. So this new generation robot is a couple of years of work in progress. They can move faster, they can go further, they can carry more, they are safer, and at the same time, they are actually cheaper to make. And they even have more AI capability, more, 5 times more compute. So there was a lot to do to get ready for this moment.
When we have coworkers in the Bloomberg building walking around with big boxes of pizza, I can smell it, and I kind of want to just knock them over and grab the box. Does anybody do that with the robots in your testing? Do you get a lot of interference?
I answer this question more than that happens. It's not that it doesn't, it's not very often. The robots are actually more reliable than couriers in terms of completing the deliveries. So they do pretty okay.
I still come down to what are the next markets, Ali, because, a lot of questions around safety, a lot of questions on how this would interact in cities. I mean, what are the hurdles you're looking to navigate as you expand?
It's really a question of, between us, our partners, where do we think is the most appropriate place to go next? There are some exciting things happening. We announced a partnership with Alphabet's Ring subsidiary, which is their drone division. We're going to do a pilot together in Dallas soon. I'm really excited about that. This is where the robots can do short distance deliveries, but when it's a long distance, they pick up the item from the restaurant and automatically hand it to a drone. So folks in Dallas can look forward to that. And then we're going to announce a few more expansions in the coming weeks and months.
I mean, it's fascinating. You think about, of course, drones flying around. Ideally, they would be able to come in through the window and I wouldn't have to move at all. But I want to talk a little bit about geography here. Of course, you announced plans for Dallas. But when you think about the makeup of certain cities, for example, Los Angeles versus Dallas versus New York, for example, if you have plans to expand there, is there a certain sort of type of geography that a city needs to have for a Serve robot to work there?
Well, look, where we are in LA is actually quite diverse. We deal with hills, for example. The robots had to be fitted with emergency braking so that if they ever lose power on a hill, they would just come to a full stop by themselves. So there was a lot of things we have already designed for. And generally, cities have one thing in common, which is restaurants are in concentrated, business areas, and there's a population nearby. So whether you're living in a smaller city or a major city, they all share that kind of, layout. So these robots can work in all those types of, environments. Now, we are not rushing to very difficult weather conditions where, half the year you're going to deal with ice and snow, for example. So we're gonna take small steps. But generally speaking, the robots are suitable for most conditions.
Can we just continue to show the video of the robot putting the package on the shelf and the drone picking it up? Because that's just incredible video.
TV.
Yeah, and while we show it, Ali, what are the regulations about this? Like, I feel like not only would I order this service, but I probably would order more food if a drone were delivering it to me. But I'm not sure if the regulators in Scarsdale would be super psyched about drones all over the place. So how do you deal with the regulatory aspect of it?
Yeah, well, drones are making good progress, obviously, but as far as the sidewalk robots goes, by default, they're actually allowed to operate anywhere in the country because there are no laws that ban them. And there's a reason for that. They're so much safer than most other transportations. They have 3,000 times less kinetic energy than a car. So every time we take a burrito out of a car and deliver it with a robot, we are actually making roads safer already, especially for pedestrians and people on bikes who are always at risk of, a car whose only job at that moment is to move a 2-pound burrito. So regulators have been very welcoming. We found them to be very open to this. 20+ states have put frameworks in favor of the robots proactively to encourage us to go there. So overall, it's been really, really positive.
I also want to talk about your relationship with other companies that are very much in the news right now, Ali, and that is Nvidia and Uber. Both are counted as shareholders of Serve. What is your relationship like with them? At the end of the day, what does it mean for you to count them as such large shareholders and even partners?
Yeah, I think it's important to share a little bit of our history. So we started inside one of the largest delivery platforms in the country, which was Postmates, and then we were acquired by Uber. So a few years ago, we spun out of Uber. Uber has been one of our largest investors and shareholders and partners ever since. And since the early days, because we are working on bringing a new form of autonomy, we partnered with Nvidia. We've been using their chips in the robots and learning about how to best use their technology. So they've been a really great partner and also one of our largest investors since. So it's a long partnership, but we are all pushing the envelope with what you're doing and hoping to continue doing that.
I know Matt already asked you about whether or not people attack these robots, but I have a different angle into that question. It's interesting to see, of course, you have eyes on these robots. They're pretty cute. You also have little names on them. I've seen Gemma and Jamie so far just watching the video. Is that to make them cuter to humans who are also on the sidewalk, to maybe sort of discourage them from attacking these guys?
That's absolutely right. Look, we are actually, interestingly, operating in Hollywood. Hollywood has made this a little bit challenging because there's such a dystopian view of robots and the future. At the same time, there's such an amazing opportunity when you're introducing robots to make sure they're fun, they're friendly, that when you see them on the sidewalk, you actually are excited to meet them, and you have something to look forward to every day. So I think we've actually been quite successful at finding that right design language and the level of friendliness that makes these robots welcome on the sidewalks.